RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. Always love talking with Centerstone. And we're learning all about the CASEL program today, learning a little bit more, again, of just what the great work that Centerstone does, and such a great advocate and resource for not only the region, but really just for so many other folks. And, you know, Centerstone is that national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment. They join us on the show and really break down all of the great programs. And if we're ready to now, Marty and Jenny would love to have you on the show and just get this started.
Thank you for having us.
Oh. Okay, and let's just kind of dive right into the CASEL program, if you could. I'm having a little bit trouble hearing you here. If you could you just give us a nice overview of what the CASEL program's all about?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, now I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So the CASEL program was founded back in 2018. We are a smaller clinic built around providing ABA services for children with autism. I am the program manager, so I oversee sort of the big picture stuff for the for the program. But I can let Jenny, who is our lead BCBA and kind of runs the day-to-day of the clinic, kind of introduce a little bit more.
That sounds great. Jenny, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How's it going?
We're hanging in there. It's a little rainy down in Alton today and humid.
Oh, really? Really? Well, we're a little dry, but I know we're going to get a little wet this weekend, so we'll see what happens. But no, that's a good question. So right now, some of the services that we provide is strictly ABA services. There's different skills that we work on, what's independent skills, daily living skills, could be academic, behavior reduction as well, depending if there's any challenging behaviors that the parents are concerned about or interfere with their daily living or learning, things like that.
Well, and, to me, this is such an important topic to discuss. And, for so many families, just to be able to have this really full, compass approach, this full and all-encompassing approach is just incredible. And what led to this? Take me through the evolution of the program, if you all could.
Sure. It started back with our former CEO, John Markley. He was talking with some local providers in the area, and they were discussing how, this was a service that was really lacking in Southern Illinois. And he came to my office one day and said, is this something we can do? Is this something that, we can address? And that was kind of the spur from there. It took us about a year to get the program sort of where we wanted it and, started looking for staff to, fill that role at the clinic. And, I guess from there, as you can say, is kind of history. We just started very small in about a 3-room office in Carterville. We started kind of growing pretty slow at first, but steady as we got word out. And then unfortunately, COVID hit us really hard. And, we wound up having to shut down, unfortunately. One of the things that, Jenny had mentioned earlier, we work on things like language skills. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to do some of those when, you have to wear a mask. And some of the children just didn't necessarily want to wear masks. So that really kind of was a big struggle for us. But we came back afterwards, came back stronger. And really, we outgrew our little place in Carterville. And so we've moved to a location in Marion that's about 3 times the size and has like a backyard playground. So we've really kind of grown rapidly over the last couple of years. So we're really excited about being able to expand the services we provide and the resources we have for the families that we serve.
Well, and I can only imagine, whenever a diagnosis like this, is heard, especially for, families of small children, it's got to be challenging and in some ways a little bit nerve-wracking. What are some of the conversations, those initial ones, what do they look like with those families? And, what's that peace of mind process look like?
Sure. I myself have a child with autism, and so it is, I definitely agree, it can be a little nerve-wracking at first, especially if you're not really sure, how to approach it. And especially for, when my son was diagnosed, he was much older than most children are. And, we were really told there may not be services for him because he was 9 at the time. And, so I wasn't happy with that answer. So I went back to school and learned how to provide help myself, became a board certified behavior analyst. And so, that's why Castle matters so much for me. And I want to be a place where we can be a resource for those families and provide those answers and those moments of comfort of knowing that you have a team that supports you. You have a team that understands what you're going through, and and what you may need as well as what your child may need. And so we've built a team that is very, very good at answering those questions and being a support for those families. And the nice thing about Centerstone is because we offer so much, it isn't just like you had mentioned earlier, like the one-stop place. So it isn't just ABA, we cover that. But if families are in need of other services, we can usually point them in the right direction to another program within Centerstone that can help them.
Well, and I want to follow up on that real quick, Marty, if it's okay, because, just hearing from your firsthand experience here, whenever you have a spot like a Centerstone, like what with this organization to where, you can find those resources, you can at least connect the dots. What does that do for that family overall, knowing that you aren't having to go to point A to point D to point G to get some answers?
Sure. Yeah, we definitely hope it's helpful. From what we've heard, the more we can offer, the better. And, I know Castle is definitely always excited to kind of expand what we can offer directly. But I think, parents often struggle in finding resources. So, and the more effort they have to put into it, the harder it becomes. So we're very happy to be able to work with our families as they need, and be a resource for them just across the board.
Well, and when it comes to working with the families and some of the tools and some of the great things we're learning, like, developing those complex language and social skills and engaging in conversations with peers to completing daily life skills. How does that process start? And really, what does that work look like for somebody that maybe has never experienced that before?
Sure. Jenny, I think you could take this one pretty well.
I think so too.
Yes. No, definitely. I feel like I know more of the little nitty gritty type of stuff. And again, I still reach out to Marty and we collaborate on a lot of things. So for us overall, it's like a 3-step process. So first we have our interview, just asking a lot of questions, things they're really good at, things that they struggle, the resources that they have or may not have. And then we do kind of like our assessment portion where we do different tasks. We play a lot really kind of to see, those social skills, language skills, and, some of those independent skills as well. And we like to see them in different contexts. Sometimes we may do an observation at home, may do an observation at school, again, depending, kind of like the level or the need that they are at. So again, because one person doesn't just exist in a vacuum, we want to see very much, different environments. And then the third portion, or the third step rather, is, when we do start services, that first few sessions is gonna what we call pairing. Basically, we play with a child, interact with them, and gain their trust. We build a good relationship. We build a good rapport. We build a good rapport with the parent, so they know exactly what are we doing, and letting them know those next steps. So again, building rapport and then slowly start, working on the skills that they need to work on, change if we need to, reach out to, parent, teacher, or other collaborative colleague that we may need to for questions like that.
Well, and see, that's where I think this is just hearing a little bit more of this. It's really bringing the whole life really of that child, of that individual, really together. If you're having those conversations and really, building on those, and just in your work, what have you been able to see in terms of development from, these children you're working with?
I mean, it's been really cool. I mean, I don't get to see them like outside of the clinic, but I know like a lot of parents, which I love seeing and hearing, they're like, oh my God, today they say good morning, or today they went to the potty by themselves, or hey, today they went out to a kid and said hi, or hey, they played with their sibling and they didn't fight. So like the little wins is what really makes a lot of people, I guess neurotypical people, or they don't understand this world. They're like, oh, that's normal. But for us, it's a big deal. It is a big win because those foundational skills are really important to build on top of each other. I know with some of our older kiddos, there's a handful, kind of in middle school age, teaching them like those social skills and things like that, how to appropriately interact with peers, with adults and things like that. So it's been really good, and just having like, the parents' feedback and, see the little things here and there. And also from the same time, like how our kids here as well. We see some of that progress, but we really like to see it outside as well. Well, and that's really important.
Well, and to me, that would be the biggest testament of it all, is to hear from the parents and saying, hey, here are those small victories that really for them could be big wins, and that's huge. I wanted to ask you about that quick follow up to this too, because when you're seeing families, that maybe it was, the child's 7 years old or 8, and maybe things were a little bit tough because you didn't understand quite honestly what was going on. When you start to see the child in your program, what does that do to the dynamic of that family to celebrate those wins and to really kind of enjoy the journey in a way and really understand what's going on?
Yes. So definitely something that I like to do at the beginning and throughout the experience and the service that I do. I like to sit with my parents definitely from the beginning. I'm like, hey, this is what we have right now. This is our approach. This is what things are going to look like. And they're going to look a little bit different, or they might see counterintuitive because you never done it this way, or people tell you to do it this way, but that doesn't work. Specifically, we know a child with autism and things like that. And throughout, our experience, I'm like, okay, hey, we made this really big step, this really big win. I would like us, to come into the clinic and see what they're really working on. And so you can learn from us, or if you have any feedback, like, hey, this seems really good, but at home we might do it a little bit different, maybe because we don't have this resource, or maybe the structure's a little bit different. So then with my parents, okay, let's go and let's, workshop and think back, how can we make this better? And just letting them know always the positives, whether hey, today they, sat at the table and did all their work, or hey, today they played really well, and things like that. And just asking the parents, I feel like consistent feedback. I feel like that for me specifically here at the clinic, it's really important. So they're happy with what they're seeing, and we're happy to make, again, very collaborative experience.
Well, and I just really love this individualized approach to treatment, and I think that's so important for parents or anybody that's out there that might be, looking into this, or maybe there's, something that's, happening that they got to kind of adapt quick to it and start looking at these options. And it's great to know that, from that comprehensive assessment to the treatment that individualized treatment that you're truly taking care of. And it seems like it's not just from hearing both of you speak a couple of minutes, it's, including that family dynamic in too, which is, I think, so valuable. It's not just the child, you're also helping, the parents, the family member. And I think that's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some part of our insurance, thankfully, it's it provides parent training. So
wow.
At the same time, it just we're able to strictly have a session for the parent and with a child, or be really focused on the parent, helping them through those questions, or helping them through that tough time in knowing how to implement or follow through with the task or the skill that we're learning through, things like that.
Well, and with that being said, as well, just to get a few of some of the I guess the FAQ questions for the parents. What are the age cutoffs for the Castle program? What's that age range look like? And is there an additional opportunity if there's a later diagnosis?
So typically,
So right now we have around a 13 to 16-year-old cutoff. So there's no really hard one per se, unless I know, Marty, I think we said 16, right? But 13 and 16, I know the older it gets, it's a little bit challenging in certain areas on providing services or how many hours we can provide. So we really try to work as much as we can, really writing strong plans for, for those to be approved. And also, and we have had kids that who are older. We want to make sure that we provide significant documentation or evidence of the reason why they need services and things like that. But yes, anybody, like even if they got a diagnosis at 7 years old, we can still take them as long as they're recent. And, we do all the insurance check mark, unfortunately. But yes, I do definitely try my best to make sure like, hey, we have this documentation. Can you get a follow up on this? Can you get me that to make sure that we can provide those services and just, keeping up with that.
Absolutely. And Marty, I think I'm hearing a little bit more of your audio now. I'm starting to hear you clear. I'm sorry if I missed a part of what you were saying on that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little faint. I just wanted to make sure I was giving you the same opportunity too, Marty.
Oh, actually, I mean, Jenny answered perfectly. Like I said, the one thing I will expand just again, as a parent, my son was diagnosed at 9, and at the time, he's in his 20s now. And so for me personally, it's about providing services as long as we are able to, because I don't want any parent to feel that they can't get services. If we can find a way to do it, we will try.
That is to me, that is so important for the public to know about too, though, because, I think so many times, we get in our own heads as individuals because we might look for programs and even though we might be close to cutoffs or qualifications, we don't pick up that phone and call. So it's good for the public to know, hey, you're good to go. This Castle program at Centerstone is here for you. And that's what I think is so important. And like you said, on the personal connection to that, Marty, to truly have, lived experience and then to turn this work and really to help others. I think it's a good testament to just the evolution of this Castle program and how it does, really just go above and beyond because, you've been able to experience this yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and going forward, just so the public knows, insurance and all, what type of insurance you guys take for this or how does that work?
So we take a variety of different providers. We're always looking for more. Occasionally, there are some, it can take some time whenever we try to get a new one. But Jenny I think has a list of the specifics. But we do also now take Medicaid. Wow. Which, we tell people it can take a couple weeks to get in, to maybe a couple months. So be patient, but we can try to get that sorted. And then, of course, we also take private pay as well.
Wonderful. And how does that intake process look? I know that you said a couple of weeks. Is it is everyone kind of in that same boat when we're starting the process with you at Castle?
Good.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Yes. So for that intake, again, it really depends. And I wish that I had a very specific or more accurate answer, but overall, it's about like a safe one is like 4 to 6 weeks, like from the first time we see you until you receive services. About 4 to 6 weeks length. It might be a little bit longer for, like Marty said, a couple months potentially. Again, that's where I run more like in our Medicaid kids. With commercial it could be a little bit shorter, but it just really depends because like kind of going back and forth with insurance. Okay, we provided all this paperwork, but then like, hey, you missed this X, Y, and Z. It could be as simple as like a school schedule. Like, what's your school schedule? What's your schedule? Do they coordinate? And I have to like kind of like, oh shoot, I forgot about that, or hey, miss that interview or whatnot. And sometimes insurance, and depending on very specific kids policy, medical policy, it might be like, oh, we just need a very quick 1-page Word document, or may need a 20-page Word document, so that, it's kind of like a racehorse. Oh, they're waiting. Yeah, we're really there. And then like, oh, no, we need this documentation. So we have to halt and stop and, kind of go back. So again, the average window is about 4 to 6 weeks, maybe a couple months.
Okay, well, and that's great for the public to know about too. And before I let you go, and I wanted just to leave, I want to leave with one final question, but I do want to ask one more for you too. And it might be kind of a hard thing to kind of answer, just because it's all individualized and you just never know. But maybe for parents that are out there that have a younger child, you know how Google can get whenever you start to Google things. Is there any advice that you could give them, you and Marty both, that, about what maybe to observe, what to kind of take into account if if it might be a diagnosis of an ASD?
Sure. My advice is speak with your doctors early. If there's any concern, talk to your primary care, talk to your pediatricians. They've gotten very good at detecting autism early. And so, it never hurts to ask questions. And that would be my advice, is seek that help early.
Absolutely. Jenny, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I feel like definitely like Marty hit that nail on head on nail. Just because like that is some of the questions, like how do you know, like what do you think? And I'm like, honestly, go with your medical provider, ask all the questions, be that annoying person, because nobody's going to advocate for your child more than you will. Like I will try my very best, but I only see them a couple times a week or a couple hours. You are then with them every day, and when things are a little off or they're not like themselves. So definitely ask a lot of questions, and don't leave questions unanswered. Like if your medical provider doesn't know, go ask another medical provider, get a second opinion and things like that. But for sure, we'll ask lots of questions.
Very important. And before I let you both go, I do got to ask you one very tough question, I think. And I really do mean this, because at first I thought, this is a softball, but I really think after hearing you speak for the last couple of minutes, there's so many spokes on this Castle program. Is there one thing that you take away from the Castle program the most?
That is a really good question. Oh my goodness.
I don't ask very many good questions.
No, I think they're being really good questions. I've been really enjoying this for sure. Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know if Marty, you want to go first or.
So I would say, for me, what I take away from the program is twofold. One, I get to work with an amazing team, and it is great to see them in action. And I will say nothing puts a smile on my face faster than visiting the clinic, seeing Jenny and the rest of the team in action, watching the children play. So that's what I take away professionally. What I take away personally is Castle has been something that I have been very protective of since we launched it, as a parent and as somebody who is connected to the ASD world. And I have been able to find individuals both within Castle and out of Castle that help support that vision that we have. And seeing it grow from, like I said, a small clinic in kind of a shopping outlet building to what some of our parents now refer to as feeling like they're coming in a home at our new clinic. It doesn't feel like a clinic. Mm-hmm. And that watching something that you care about grow and help other individuals is what I take from personally as a success for Castle.
I love it. I mean, that really is just beautiful, Marty. And Jenny, did you have anything to add to that?
I think, again, I echo the same as Marty for sure. I really love, I never knew that this is something I wanted, honestly, until in 2017, 18, when I stumbled in like the ABA world, because we're kind of niche in a way. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to teach, neurodivergent individuals that they can do everyday life, or like teach them learning, tools, or give them tools, or teach them how to kind of navigate this very neurotypical life, and like just get like coping mechanisms on like how to deal with certain things or move forward with life, because that is very difficult, because again, unfortunately, the world is not built for neurodivergent people, and I just want to make sure that I can do whatever I can in order to provide them a better quality of life. And I just love the science behind it. I'm a big nerd about that for sure.
Well, and I just think it's great to hear both of your passions on this, and really for the public to know that, you have some advocates and dedicated folks and staff that are ready to help. And before I let you go, what's the best way to find out more information on Castle?
Sure. You can go to the Centerstone website and search for Castle. I believe it'll bring up the flyer that you currently have. You can reach out through the 1-800 number, which I believe, is 1-877-HOPE-123. That's kind of the general Centerstone number they can put you in touch with us. Or they can reach out to the clinic directly at 618-319-6060, and that'll put them directly in contact with Jenny.
Well, thank you guys seriously so much for a wonderful conversation. Sorry, my voice is going out on you. And really just great to hear more about this program. We are going to link everything in a write-up on RiverBender.com to help raise more awareness for families. But thank you guys so much for your time. And once again, just really a great conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
No problem. The time's 10:35 on this Wednesday morning. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Lacey McDonald and go back 100 years ago into the time machine right after this.